Listen to me. Too many of you are losing before the battle even starts. Not because you don't have the strength, not because you don't have the talent, not because you don't have the ability, but because the moment the cost shows up, the moment the bill comes due, you shut down, you pull back, you fold, you retreat, you start calculating, you start measuring, you start adding up everything you've got to give, and you convince yourself it's too much, and you quit before you've even seen what you're capable of. You've been trained your whole life to look at the price tag before you look at the prize. You've been conditioned to check the weight of the cross before you even step on the path. You've been told over and over again to play it safe, to calculate the risk, to keep score of the sacrifices. And so when the pain comes, when the late nights come, when the failures stack up, when the sweat stings your eyes, when the people you thought would stand with you walk away, when the doors slam shut, your mind goes to the cost instead of the purpose. You've got to flip the switch. You've got to shift the focus. You've got to decide right here, right now, that no matter what it costs you, no matter what it demands of you, no matter what it strips from you, the purpose, the vision, the calling, the dream, the destiny is worth more than the pain, worth more than the sacrifice, worth more than the blood, worth more than the tears. Stop counting the cost and start counting the reason you started in the first place. Stop counting the hours of sleep you're losing and start counting the impact you're making. Stop counting the money you're spending and start counting the people you're going to bless. Stop counting the friends who left and start counting the lives you're going to touch. Stop counting what it's taking from you and start counting what it's building in you. The cost is always going to look heavy when you stare at it. Think about it, the athlete who gets up at 4 a.m., who runs until their lungs burn, who lifts until their muscles tremble, who sacrifices parties, who sacrifices comfort, who sacrifices normality. If they keep looking at what they're losing, they'll never reach the podium. But the one who says, I'm not looking at the pain, I'm looking at the purpose, I'm not looking at the price, I'm looking at the prize, that's the one who breaks records. That's the one who lifts the trophy. That's the one who becomes legendary. Pain is always temporary, but purpose is eternal. You've got to understand that your destiny doesn't care about your comfort. Your calling doesn't care about your feelings. The dream you've been given doesn't care about how much sleep you think you deserve. It only responds to commitment. It only responds to sacrifice. It only responds to perseverance. Every time you sit down and calculate how much it's going to hurt, you're wasting energy that could be used to push through it. When you stop focusing on the cost, you'll realize something powerful. The pain has a purpose of its own. The late nights, the setbacks, the betrayals, the failures, all of them are teaching you something, building you into something, chiseling away the weakness, carving out the excuses, molding you into the kind of person who can actually carry the dream you're chasing. Everybody wants success, but not everybody can hold it. You think the dream is heavy. The preparation is heavier. You think the blessing is hard. The process is harder. But the reason most never make it is not because they weren't good enough. It's because they never learned to stop staring at the bill and start staring at the breakthrough. You've got to understand the cost is part of the deal. There is no dream without sacrifice. There is no vision without struggle. There is no greatness without pain. Every legend you admire, every story that inspires you, every person you look up to, they all paid something. They all endured something. They all gave something up. You just didn't see the bill. You just saw the blessing. You didn't see the tears. You just saw the triumph. You didn't see the lonely nights. You just saw the spotlight. And because you only see the outcome, you think the process isn't worth it. But I'm telling you, if you're going to live your purpose, if you're going to fulfill your calling, if you're going to reach your destiny, you've got to make peace with the price. You've got to settle in your mind right now that no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, the purpose is greater than the pain. Think about the farmer who plants seeds in the ground. He doesn't stare at the dirt every day saying, man, look at all this work. Look at all this watering. Look at all this waiting. He doesn't focus on the cost of the labor. He focuses on the harvest. He knows that the sweat of today is the bread of tomorrow. And that's exactly what you've got to lock in on. The reason most people never see their harvest is because they quit in the season of labor. They quit in the season of sweat. They quit in the season of pain. They quit because they were too busy counting what it was costing instead of focusing on what it was producing. You can't get caught up in the momentary sting and miss the eternal reward. You've got to reframe it. Every tear you shed is watering the seed. Every hour of sleep you lose is fertilizing the ground. Every no you hear is clearing out the weeds. Every sacrifice you make is preparing the soil for your breakthrough. Stop asking, what's this going to take from me? Start asking, what's this going to make of me? Stop saying, this hurts too much. Start saying, this is shaping me into someone who can handle more. Stop complaining about the long nights and start celebrating the fact that you're one step closer to the dream. Stop measuring the pain and start magnifying the purpose. If you don't quit, if you don't fold, if you don't let the weight of the cost crush you, the purpose will carry you. The dream will sustain you. The vision will fuel you. Because when you are driven by purpose, pain becomes background noise. When you are obsessed with the reason you started, the obstacles become stepping stones. When you are locked in on the mission, the cost doesn't break you, it builds you. You can't get to the next level with a bargain mindset. You can't walk into destiny looking for discounts. You can't walk into greatness hoping it's on sale. Dreams don't go half price. Purpose doesn't have a clearance rack. Destiny doesn't do buy one, get one. If you want it, you've got to be willing to pay full price. But the beauty of it is this: the moment you stop counting the cost and you start walking in the purpose, you'll realize that every ounce of pain was an investment, not a loss. Every sleepless night was equity in your destiny. Every setback was interest accruing on your success. Every sacrifice was a seed planted in the soil of greatness. And when the harvest comes, when the blessing comes, when the breakthrough comes, you'll look back and realize it didn't cost you. It built you. Sacrifice now, celebrate later. That's the law. That's the principle. That's the truth that most people don't want to hear because it requires discipline. It requires patience. It requires a willingness to give up something today for something greater tomorrow. And the problem with this generation, the problem with so many of you listening right now, is that you want to eat the cake before it's baked. You want to celebrate before you've sacrificed. You want the reward before you've done the work. You want the applause before you put in the hours. You want to shine without sweating. And life doesn't work like that. Life doesn't hand out trophies to the ones who showed up halfway. Life doesn't hand out crowns to the ones who quit when it got uncomfortable. Life doesn't reward people who are allergic to sacrifice. It rewards the ones who said, I'll give it up now so I can get it back multiplied later. You see, everything of value in this life is attached to sacrifice. You want freedom, you sacrifice discipline. You want success, you sacrifice comfort. You want impact, you sacrifice time. You want legacy, you sacrifice the easy route. And until you understand that, you'll always be stuck wondering why your life feels average, wondering why nothing changes, wondering why your dreams keep slipping away. It's because you keep choosing to celebrate now, sacrifice later, and later never comes. Sacrifice now, celebrate later means you've got to be okay with missing out on what everybody else calls fun. You've got to be okay with being different, with being odd, with being misunderstood. You've got to be okay with being the one who stays in while everybody else goes out. You've got to be okay with investing while everybody else is spending. You've got to be okay with practicing while everybody else is partying. You've got to be okay with going to bed early and waking up earlier. You've got to be okay with saying no when your friends invite you to waste time. You've got to be okay with being laughed at when people see you grinding with no immediate results. You've got to be okay with being doubted, with being underestimated, with being talked about, because when it's all said and done, the laughter will fade, the doubts will die. The ridicule will be replaced with respect, but only if you pay the price now. When you sacrifice now, you are building a foundation that no one can take from you. When you sacrifice now, you're making a deposit that will pay you later. When you sacrifice now, you're telling life, I'm serious, I'm committed, I'm not here to play games. I'm not here to settle. I'm not here to live average. I'm here to maximize everything inside me. I'm here to leave a mark. I'm here to finish empty. I'm here to do everything I was born to do. And the truth is, you don't even know how powerful your sacrifices are until later, until you look back and realize every no you said to distractions was a yes to destiny. Every time you stayed in and studied was an investment into your future. Every time you skipped the short-term pleasure, you gained long-term fulfillment. The celebration is coming. The reward is coming. The victory is coming, but only for those who don't skip the sacrifice. The problem with celebrating too early is that it tricks you. It deceives you into thinking you've already arrived when you haven't even left the driveway. It makes you comfortable when you should be hungry. It makes you satisfied when you should be stretching. It makes you complacent when you should be grinding. And too many of you sabotage your own futures because you throw a party in the middle of the process. You get a little success. You get a little recognition. You get a little money. And instead of doubling down, instead of pushing harder, instead of going further, you relax, you slow down, you start coasting. And what you don't realize is that the enemy of greatness is not failure. It's comfort, and comfort will kill more dream than fear ever will. That's why you've got to tell yourself, I will not celebrate until it's time. I will not let a small win make me lose the war. I will not let applause make me settle for average. I will not let temporary satisfaction rob me of eternal impact. I will sacrifice now because the real celebration is later. Sacrifice now means waking up when you don't feel like it. Sacrifice now means studying when your brain is tired. Sacrifice now means training when your body wants to quit. Sacrifice now means working on your craft when no one's watching. Sacrifice now means saving when you'd rather spend. Sacrifice now means grinding when you'd rather rest. Sacrifice now means doing what's hard so that later you can do what's impossible. And listen, nobody escapes this principle. Not one person. Every champion, every leader, every trailblazer, every success story, they all sacrificed something. They all gave something up. They all had to say no to something good to get to something great. And the difference between those who made it and those who didn't wasn't talent. It wasn't luck. It wasn't connections. It was the willingness to sacrifice now and celebrate later. Think about it. The student who sacrifices weekends to study celebrates when they graduate with honors. The athlete who sacrifices sleep to train celebrates when they stand on the podium with gold around their neck. The entrepreneur who sacrifices security to build their dream celebrates when they walk into freedom and independence. The artist who sacrifices comfort to create celebrates when their work inspires generations. The parent who sacrifices personal desires to raise their children celebrates when they see their kids thrive. Sacrifice always comes first. Celebration always comes later. And the longer you delay the celebration, the greater it will be when it arrives. But here's the part most of you miss is sacrifice is not punishment. Sacrifice is preparation. Sacrifice is training. Sacrifice is sharpening. Sacrifice is building you into someone strong enough, wise enough, disciplined enough, resilient enough to handle the blessing when it comes. If you celebrate too soon, you won't have the character to sustain it. You won't have the wisdom to manage it. You won't have the endurance to keep it. You won't have the humility to steward it. That's why life requires the sacrifice up front so that when the celebration comes, you're ready for it. You're prepared for it. You're equipped for it. And let me be clear, sacrifice is not supposed to feel good. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be convenient. That's why it's called sacrifice. If it doesn't hurt, it's not sacrifice. If it doesn't cost you something, it's not sacrifice. If it doesn't stretch you, it's not sacrifice. But that pain, that discomfort, that stretch is what transforms you. It's what elevates you. It's what positions you for the celebration. So don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Don't avoid it. Embrace it. Welcome it. Lean into it. Because the faster you sacrifice now, the faster you'll celebrate later. Too many people are living their lives in reverse. They celebrate now and sacrifice later. They live reckless in their youth and pay for it in their old age. They spend all their money now and work until they die. They waste their time now and regret it for the rest of their lives. They choose shortcuts now and wonder why their road is so short. Don't live in reverse. Flip it, sacrifice now, put in the work now, pay the price now, invest now, grind now. And when the time is right, when the harvest comes, when the blessing arrives, you'll celebrate later. And your celebration will not be short-lived. It will not be fake. It will not be temporary. It will be real. It will be lasting. It will be legacy level. That's the secret that separates winners from losers, champions from challengers, legends from the forgotten winners. Sacrifice first. Losers celebrate first. Winners delay gratification. Losers demand it instantly. Winners say no now so they can say yes later. Losers say yes now and have nothing left for later. And you've got to decide which one you're going to be. You've got to decide whether you're willing to give up some things today so you can have everything tomorrow. You've got to decide if you're willing to endure the pain of sacrifice now so you can enjoy the joy of celebration later. Because the truth is, you can't have both at the same time. You can't fully celebrate and fully sacrifice simultaneously. You've got to choose. And the ones who choose sacrifice are the ones who always end up with something worth celebrating. Value the process more than the price. That's the difference between people who achieve greatness and people who quit halfway. That's the line that separates the ones who rise from the ones who sink. That's the mindset that makes champions, legends, leaders, people who change the game. Because everybody sees the price and they run. Everybody sees the bill and they fold. Everybody sees the pain and they complain. But the ones who make it, the ones who go the distance, the ones who break through, they see the process and they value it. They embrace it. They respect it. They fall in love with it because they know the process is the only thing that can make them into the kind of person who can carry the dream they're chasing. Too many of you are obsessed with the price. You're obsessed with what it's costing you. You're obsessed with how much sleep you're losing, how much money you're spending, how much energy you're giving, how many friends you're losing, how much time it's taking. And because you're obsessed with the price, you never learn to appreciate the process. And because you never appreciate the process, you quit before you get the reward. The process is where the transformation happens. The process is where the growth happens. The process is where the lessons happen. The process is where the breakthroughs are hidden. The process is where the strength is built. The resilience is forged. The discipline is created. The character is tested and refined. But you'll never see any of that if you're constantly staring at the price tag. It's like going to the gym and complaining about how heavy the weights are instead of realizing it's the resistance that makes you stronger. It's like planting seeds and complaining about how much time it takes instead of realizing the waiting is what makes the harvest possible. It's like learning a skill and complaining about how hard it is instead of realizing the difficulty is what forces you to improve. You've got to shift your mindset. You've got to stop running from the price and start respecting the process because the process is what makes you. When you value the process, you stop whining and start working. When you value the process, you stop making excuses and start executing. When you value the process, you stop complaining about what you don't have and start using what you do have. When you value the process, you stop quitting when it gets hard and start pushing because it's hard. When you value the process, you stop being obsessed with the timeline and start being obsessed with the progress. Too many of you are in love with the destination, but allergic to the journey. You love the dream, but hate the discipline. You want the blessing, but reject the burden. You want the crown, but you don't want the cross. And until you learn to value the process more than the price, you'll never taste the fulfillment you're chasing. The price will always feel too high. If you never respect the process, the cost will always feel unfair if you never understand the process. The pain will always feel pointless if you never embrace the process. But when you start to see the process for what it is, when you start to realize every struggle is sculpting you, every delay is developing you, every failure is forming you, every rejection is refining you, suddenly the price doesn't scare you anymore because you know the process is producing something priceless inside of you. You begin to see that the process is not taking from you. It's giving to you. It's not robbing you. It's rewarding you. It's not breaking you. It's building you. And when you see it that way, you'll stop running from it. You'll stop fighting it, you'll stop resenting it, and you'll start valuing it more than the price. Think about the caterpillar crawling in the dirt, trapped in its limitations. Then one day it wraps itself in a cocoon, isolated, squeezed, pressured, crushed in darkness, going through a painful process. And if you only looked at the price, you'd say, why would it endure that? Why would it suffer like that? Why would it sacrifice its freedom like that? But the caterpillar isn't worried about the price. It values the process because it knows that process is what transforms it into a butterfly. And once it's flying, once it's soaring, once it's free, the price doesn't matter anymore because the process made it possible. That's your life. That's your dream. That's your destiny. You've got to stop fixating on the pain of the cocoon and start valuing the process that's preparing you for the wings. When you value the process, you also learn patience because the process doesn't care about your deadline. It doesn't care about your calendar. It doesn't care about your microwave mindset. The process takes time. The process has seasons. The process moves slow, and if you're always rushing it, you'll rip yourself out of it too early. You'll sabotage your own growth. You'll abort your own destiny. But if you trust it, if you let it do its work, if you embrace it, you'll come out stronger, wiser, tougher, sharper, ready for what's next. Stop saying, why is this taking so long? And start saying, thank God it's taking time, because the longer it takes, the deeper the roots, the stronger the foundation, the greater the fruit. Too many people pay the price halfway and then quit the process. They put in some work, they sacrifice for a while, they endure for a season, but because they don't value the process, they think it should be easier. They think it should be faster. They think it should be cheaper. And when it's not, they stop. But the ones who win, the ones who break through, the ones who reach the mountaintop, they're the ones who value the process so much that they're willing to pay whatever price it demands. They're willing to suffer longer, to endure harder, to keep going deeper, because they know the process is always producing something greater than the price. And listen to me, the process doesn't lie. The process doesn't cheat. The process doesn't play favorites. The process is honest. The process gives back exactly what you put in. If you cut corners in the process, you'll see it in the results. If you stay faithful in the process, you'll see it in the reward. That's why you can't fake it. You can't skip it. You can't bypass it. You can't cheat it. You've got to go through it. You've got to embrace it. You've got to grind it out. You've got to stay in it, because the process never wastes pain. The process never wastes effort. The process never wastes sacrifice. It uses all of it to shape you, to elevate you, to prepare you. You've got to fall in love with the grind, fall in love with the sweat, fall in love with the discipline, fall in love with the lonely nights, fall in love with the setbacks, fall in love with the journey. Because if you don't, you'll keep resenting the price and you'll never reach the prize. But if you value the process more than the price, if you can say, I don't care how much it hurts, I don't care how much it costs, I don't care how long it takes, I'm here for the process, I'm here for the lessons, I'm here for the growth, I'm here for the transformation, then nothing can stop you, no obstacle can break you, no delay can discourage you, no rejection can defeat you, because you're not in it for the short term, you're in it for the long haul. You're not in it for the comfort. You're in it for the calling. The price is temporary, but the process is eternal. The cost will fade, but the character you build through the process will last forever. The sacrifices will pass, but the strength you gain through the process will remain. The pain will go away, but the wisdom you learn through the process will carry you for life. That's why you've got to shift your focus. That's why you've got to reframe your mindset. That's why you've got to stop being obsessed with the bill and start being obsessed with the breakthrough. The price is just the toll you pay on the highway of destiny, but the process is the road itself. The process is the journey. The process is the experience. And if you embrace it, if you value it, if you love it, you'll realize the process was the real reward all along.